Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new League of Legends video. This is going to be a different type of video because not only am I talking about something related to the jungle, but this is also something very new that I personally have never seen anyone do or talk about. Yet it's been right in front of our faces for so long. And it really is just a simple question. What happens if you take the wolf and bring it over to the side where the red buff is? And then you smite it, what exactly happens with the ghost? Well, you see here, instead of going to the blue area in which the wolves were actually spawning at, the ghost instead decides to go across the river and into the enemy's jungle at their blue area. And it starts to patrol this area instead. This could obviously be extremely strong if you were to do it at the early levels, maybe even level 1. Like for instance, if you have a Tahm Kench jungle, maybe a Syndra mid, a Tahm Kench top. And not only can you have very early vision at level 1 into the enemy's jungle and to see what they're doing, maybe their jungle path or whatever, but even throughout the game you can still use this trick and have vision of the enemy jungle without having to actually ward it. The big question that we do have to ask is this intentional or is this a bug? Truly, I have no idea how Riot will perceive this. However, I will talk about exactly how this works a bit later into the video. So we'll go through different scenarios because I'm sure you guys are wondering, well, what if you take the wolf and bring it to this part of the map? What exactly happens there? So in this example, we took the same camp that we did at the beginning of the video. Of course, it did respawn so we can actually smite it. And we brought it to this side of the map instead, being the enemy's red jungle. And you can see, even though we used the smite within that area of the jungle, it still went back to its original location and is patrolling our jungle on the blue buff side. So following this, we decided to test what happens if you take the buff and put it very deep into the jungle. Does it change any of its behavior? So here we went into the enemy's jungle at their red buff and put it as far as we possibly could, used my smite on the wolf, but this one still decided to go to our jungle on the blue buff side. So as you're about to see another example of us taking the wolf and bringing it all the way back into our base and then using smite on it to see where the ghost goes, I'll explain to you how I believe the behavior does work. So from what I understand, it seems like it really just depends on what side of the map you use the smite on the wolf. So looking at this minimap, there's obviously two sides to the game. But just imagine that there's a line drawn from our base to the enemy base. And the example you're seeing right now further just proves that this is most likely the case, because if you smite it on the bottom half of the map that you see there, the buff will go across the river and it'll go into the red team's blue buff area in the jungle. However, if you use the smite on the wolf anywhere on the upper part of the map, so the top left, then the ghost instead will go down to blue team's blue buff area in the jungle and patrol that area instead. But regardless, this is still insanely strong because either team at level 1 or really any level for that matter could effectively use this trick to get the ghost into the enemy's jungle to see what's happening there, without having the risk of going there yourself to put a ward down, and of course the possibility of putting the ward in the wrong area or having to use smite on the enemy wolves. But there's still one thing we decided to test out to see exactly what happens. What if I take the wolf and bring it over to the other part of my jungle, so the red buff side, smite it, and have the ghost go into the enemy's jungle? But what if the ghost passes an enemy player as it's making its progress to the enemy jungle? Well, as you see here, it actually does not stop and start following that player around. Instead, it always goes to its initial location where it usually rests, and then it starts to act like a normal ghost, following any enemy trespassers. All in all, I think this is an extremely cool trick that I've never thought of nor seen anyone talk about it or use it. So if you found this interesting or cool, definitely hit the like button as it helps me quite a lot. Share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't, and check out my other videos as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you for the next video. Peace.